I mean, all advertising is based on fear, right? You wouldn't want the product. You wouldn't be driven to the product if you didn't have a fear that not having it would make your life worse, right? I've never sold an electric panel. No, I was into computers and electronics. I just sold people computers that they see. I was terrible at it because they'd come in and they'd be like, the person next to me would be a salesman. To be like, grandma'd walk in. I want to check my email from my grandkids. What do I need? You're gonna need this computer for $2,500. Okay, and then they give up the money, and they'd come over to me, and I'd be like, well, you can do that for like $600. We can go over here. I can build you a very small chassis, easy peasy, and you'll be able to check all the email you want. Now you won't be able to play games. I don't want to play games. I know, so it shouldn't be a problem. And then my manager come around the corner and be like, "What are you doing?" Like, I'm selling an old lady the computer she needs. You could upsell her. Mm-hmm. And then no, and so therefore I quit that job. They want me to be a manager. It's really funny. You seem to have a good head on your shoulders, but you really suck at sales. Go learn how to be a salesman. I'm like, okay, but gross. If you are a thoughtful person, when you listen to a commercial, ask the question, what fear are they trying to exploit to sell their product, right? What fear? A lot of times it's FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. This is what other people are doing. You're not going to be in touch. You're not going to be in the know. You're not going to be with it. You're going to be one of those square people. If you don't go to this event, see this thing, have this TV show, whatever. It's the event of the season. It's the greatest movie of all time. You're going to, if you miss out, then other people are in society are going to think you're a, whatever. What fear are they trying to exploit in me to sell me a product? All advertising is based on fear. Right? You wouldn't want the product. You wouldn't be driven to the product if you didn't have a fear that not having it would make your life worse, right? If you're lonely, drink. You're lonely, go buy this body spray, this deodorant. If you're lonely, you're going to want to go on vacation here. If you're lonely, you're going to want this internet site, right? That's if you're afraid, right? Then buy this insurance. If you're afraid, then buy this weapon. If you're afraid, then get this security system. If you're afraid, then get this car, because then when you try to open your door and you're going to get hit by a car, it'll stop you, right? It's all based on fear, and then solving that fear with their product. There used to be a sales technique back when I was in sales training called reduction to the ridiculous. And what you do is, once you'd done all the horrible manipulative things to build a pretend relationship with this person, and you've gotten them to the point of them agreeing they have the issue, or they have the issue and you can solve it, the next thing they're always going to say, well, I can't afford it right now. That's where you use the technique reduction to the ridiculous, which is why it's only a coffee a day, right? For only $1 a day. It's only this much and you'll be paying it for a million years, right? Because it's so little. But that if you do the reduction to the ridiculous, you can say, whoa, you mean the entry fee to solve my problem is so low that I can pay only a little bit and solve this problem? Yes, for sure. I will absolutely do that, because I know I have the fear. Your product will solve it. The barrier for entry is really, really low. Of course I would do that. What you don't say as a salesperson is, you'll be on the hook for the next 20 years. We're going to charge you double because of the interest rate. It's not even going to last as long as the amount of time it's going to take you to buy it. And the things that it's going to solve are not what I said they were going to solve. In fact, it's only going to barely scratch the surface, and you're going to still have that issue, which is why you come back to me and I'm going to sell you more stuff, because you bought it wrong. Right? Not my fault for not telling you about it. You just bought it wrong. And that's how temptation works, right? You say to the person, the enemy says, this, you're afraid, or you're miserable, you're lonely, you're sad, you're whatever, hungry, angry, lonely, tired. And do this thing, you'll feel better. You're like, well, no, that thing causes me problems. Okay, but what if I promise that this time it'll work? I won't pester you, says the enemy. Nobody will know, and you already have it available. Plus, the fact that you're thinking about it already means you've already invested, so you may as well complete it. You may as well just go through with it, because you're already thinking about it. God's already mad at you. You may as well do it. right? That's how the manipulation works, to get you to the place where you're like, reduction to the ridiculous. You're right. You know, I've already gotten that far. I may as well continue. God will never know. Nobody will ever know. You know, I do this all the time. Blah. God will forgive me anyway. And then you go through with it. And then the enemy, he has this trick where he goes, don't worry, it'll be fine. It'll be great. You're going to love it. It's going to solve all your problems. You're going to feel better afterwards. And the moment you do it, he flips and he goes from temptation to shame, to shaming and guilt. And he goes, you're the worst. I can't believe you do that. You know, people are going to catch you. You said you weren't going to do that anymore. God's mad at you. You may as well not even pray anymore. How can you call yourself a believer? How can you call yourself a human being? You know, you should basically get a divorce. Nobody's going to like you. You're gross. You're disgusting, you know, and immediately, right? Because that's how it always works, which is why we have to work so hard to remind ourselves there is no condemnation in Christ, and the enemy is lying. There you go. Look at that. That's so cool. And then, boop. Yes. I love that so much. You've no idea.